I'm about to feed him to the sharks right now. Get him hype right now. Yeah. You know the ground is up. Yeah. Everybody that trains, you know the game. Yeah. So let's get it. Slap it up, bump it, and roll. Hey. Yeah, that's the way that it goes. Ain't no better way to better yourself in this game. You're feeling the growth. That's time on the mat. We put in the work. Believe it ain't easy, I know. But we train for the love of the game, the love of the art. Now slap it up, bump it, let's roll.
Welcome to episode 30 of the BJJ Campaign podcast. My name is Jeff Boone. I'm an A3 blue belt, 2 stripes.
Phil Coors, A2, blue belt, 1 stripe.
Episode 30, Philly.
It's a big number.
It's a big number. Big number. And today we're going to talk about one of our listeners. They wrote in and they expressed a little frustration that they couldn't apply the techniques that they'd learned in class to rolling. And just as a little bit of background, this listener is just received their first stripe on their white belt. Mm-hmm. Thoughts?
Yeah, most of the time, I see the move once.
Get it right away, incorporate it in rolling, bam.
Yes. Yeah.
That's how it is.
Sometimes I'll see a move out of the corner of my eye, other people rolling, and I'm like, that's for me.
Yeah. Said no one in Jiu-Jitsu ever.
Yeah, so I don't know. I feel like I didn't even roll by the time I had 1 stripe. Like
you didn't. That's why you feel that way.
Putting this into perspective for me. Yeah. Nothing works. That's so common though. I know. Like you're trying to remember what you should be doing and try not to like panic, and then trying to see which, like remembering 5 minutes later, like should have done what we learned today 5 minutes ago.
That's step 1.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So it is a process. You're like, oh yeah, I could have done that. And then you recognize it just a split second too late to actually do the move.
Yeah.
Right? And then maybe you've seen the move 3 or 4 more times when the technique rolls around again in the curriculum. And then possibly you recognize it and have 100 to 500 failed attempts.
Yeah, I think around the 3rd or 4th time you see the technique, you're like, oh, so this time he's going to tell me about that part, that detail that he was holding back last time.
Yeah, because they never tell you all the details every time.
Nah, no way.
It's a lie, folks. They tell you every detail every time. I'm so guilty of that. We're like, man, that really makes sense. I wonder why they didn't do that the last time. And then the next time it rolls around, they say the exact same detail, and you're like, oh, yeah, it's me. It's not really.
Yeah, I like now when I'll tell people, and I'll use the example John always uses. I can't think of one off the top of my head, but like an analogy or whatever the word is for what you're doing. And then John will bring the class back in. He says it again because it's his analogy. And the guy I'm working with will like look at me and be like, that's what you said. I'm like, that's where I got it from.
Duh.
But yeah, that's so common and still happens. I'm assuming never is going to stop happening because I don't think there's a way to kind of figure it out until you screw it up. But
well, until we know all jiu-jitsu, which, that's going to happen in a few weeks, right?
Reasonable expectations. So,
no, but not to make light of it. Because it can be, whenever you're starting, it can be frustrating because there's so many things coming at you, so many positions that you're getting into, and to process all that information, it just takes time in your mind. Mm-hmm. It takes, I don't know. I want to say at least 4 times of seeing a technique to actually where you can try to start implementing it in your rolling. I don't know, maybe more.
It's a weird way to put it because it's like I don't know. I get what you're saying because theoretically you should see the move 4 times probably in about a year.
Yeah.
So it should take you about a year to figure it out.
Yeah, I think that's about right?
Yeah. Or if it's something that you're trying to do a lot, like when you were focusing on the triangle, it took you about like 3 months maybe, because you're doing it a lot.
All
Like
the
you're
time. That's
trying
all
to,
it is.
you're trying
Yeah.
to force that, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I was not doing the triangle a lot. I was getting my guard passed a lot, recovering guard, and then trying the triangle again.
Yeah, but the situation was coming up all the time.
Yeah.
Versus, like, I've seen the double leg takedown like 50 times.
150.
So it doesn't matter, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't try to do it very often. And every time I do, it still doesn't work. So I feel like that also is not, seeing it 4 times is like a weird, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's like makes sense to other people.
Yeah, and I think too, like the take home is, I think that this, I think that this listener's got the right mental attitude, and that is that trying to incorporate it into the roles,
Yeah.
right? The techniques. I mean, I don't know about you, Phil, but every time we do a technique, I'm going to try in that class session. After that class session when we're rolling, to incorporate whatever it is, because that's whenever it's the freshest in your mind. Whatever technique that you went over that day, try to incorporate that in the rolls. Try to, sometimes you can dictate the position, sometimes you can't.
Yeah, I like forcing the moves in, like especially with doing the knife techniques. Just I know what you mean though, like because it'll be really funny because you'll do it and then you'll like you'll see the opportunity so much more while you're rolling that day because you're just working on it. But so do they.
Yeah, I know, but that's why being a good training partner is you try to get in that position, whether it's top or bottom for your partner as well. To open up that opportunity for it. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think that's important.
Yeah, no, I think that's something we do a decent job of is trying to work those things, especially when they're new or whatever, and they're showing up. And I've done it a couple times where I fall in love with a move for 2 weeks, and then I kind of just totally forget about it. But it's like you see it that day, and you start doing it, and you're like, oh, I really like this, and then kind of keep doing it, and then you just, not intentional, but you just kind of stop doing it.
What was your last one that you did that with?
I can't remember, but that came to mind because I had just been reminded of it recently, and I think it was talking to Yona or something where she mentioned it, and I was like, yeah, we did that in class, and I loved it, and I did it a lot for like 2 weeks, and I forgot. And I can't remember what it is.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's valid, and I would say turn that frustration, if you are frustrated, turn that into a positive in that make it a goal of yours that whatever those techniques are, that you at least try them whenever you're rolling, or B, if it's something that was important to you, like the triangle was to me, devote a block of time to it. Devote several months to it, to honing what it is. I mean, right now for me, it's that De La Hiva, getting in that position, not necessarily the learning more sweeps, but just getting in the proper position, because that position is such a strong position whenever you do it correctly, unlike what I was doing it before in private with John.
Yeah. So from their point of view, being like brand new, everything is going to feel like there's a million different positions happening, but if you kind of break it down, or I guess think about it, you're really not going to be in that many different positions, and especially being new with no prior experience, you're kind of going to always be in the bad position. So thinking on the bright side of that, at least it kind of cuts in half what you need to be focusing on when you're rolling, because it's mostly going to be staying calm and working on your escapes from the mount and from side control, because that's probably where you're going to be the majority of the time when you're rolling.
Yeah. No, agreed.
So looking on the bright side of trying to remember what to do in those times, at least, you have a good idea where to start, right? Like keeping your elbows in and not just trying to push people off, Wim Hof breathing on the bottom of the mount so you don't panic. But making sure your breathing is good. You're not freaking out and tapping just to pressure because you're panicking. And then doing your elbow escapes or your Upa bridge and roll, whatever you want to call it,
whatever
side control.
whatever the two things from that position that you've created in your mind that's what you're going to go to those things, right?
Right. And from side control, same idea. For me, being not good and smaller, usually I can get my knees in easier than big people. So guard recovery was really important for me off the bat, like on side control escapes and whatnot. And just trying to do those couple things. Everything's going to feel new because you're not going to know what to do on top or bottom, but bottom is worse and bottom is more likely what's going to happen first. If you're on top and you don't know what to do, you're going to get rolled off in 2 seconds and you're on the bottom. Mm-hmm. So you may as well focus on what to do on the bottom.
Yeah.
Start getting out a little bit, and the top stuff will kind of come naturally eventually.
I totally agree. And you're kind of refocusing on the guard recovery now since you're working open guard.
Yeah. Yeah. Trying to not only be in the close guard all the time.
You've done a good job with that too. So,
Funny story though, on the kind of reminded me earlier, I almost forgot. With not knowing what to do or whatever, I went the other day with Mark, went for a Kimura. You are not going to believe what happened.
You let it go.
Not get the Kimura. But I went for it. I thought it was interesting afterwards.
Oh, so you didn't let it go, you just didn't get it.
Yeah, we're going to just
So
change
you
the
let it
word
go.
a little bit. Yeah. Don't say it like that. It sounds terrible when you say it like that. I used it to advance my position to him passing my guard.
It's not technically that's not advancing your position.
I'm advancing backwards. Some would call it retreating. I don't know.
Regressing your position. Yeah.
So, I haven't gone for one of those in what feels like forever. But his arm was down, and I just jumped on it because they were doing it in the kids' class that day.
Yeah.
But I haven't even attempted one in forever. But yeah, I went for it. It was like in a half guard thing, and he just passed the guard and ended up on top. And I get into the awkward, he's going to reverse corner me, and I let it go. Because it hurts my shoulder.
Yeah.
Because I'm doing it wrong.
Yeah, that reverse Kimura is horrible.
Yeah, it's not good.
No, it is.
But I don't know. Maybe I'll go for another one this year before the year's up.
Yeah.
I went for one so far in 2019.
I'm just going to start leaving my elbows out everywhere whenever.
Don't care. Frame off of them. Push away.
That's great. This kind of brings me to one of the questions one of our teammates had last night whenever we were talking, and this guy is a bigger guy and relatively experienced white belt, and he was asking me, because I am a bigger guy as well, Jeff, what did you do? Some of these newer white belts are well, let's just call it what it is, spazzing a little bit, whenever you're doing it, and should I stay in top position and control them, or should I go on bottom? And I said, well, I'm glad you asked, because I sought counsel on this whenever I was new into jiu-jitsu and early on into jiu-jitsu, and got some what I think was really good advice. And the first bit of advice is, with those folks, always defend yourself, right? Because that you don't want to get hurt.
Yeah.
Whenever, and that's the most dangerous situation, right? Is new white belt that doesn't know the movements, motions, and if you don't first protect yourself, that you're leaving yourself open for injury. So that was the first thing I told him. And the other thing was, play bottom. Play bottom as a big guy. Learn that bottom and stay there. I think I did that for a good 6 months. I still do it today. I love that. Transformed me into someone who was accustomed to the top position because of my previous wrestling experience. I could hold that position on a lot of the newer people, but that wasn't helping my jiu-jitsu. Mm-hmm. And I think he felt that way too. And so that was kind of my advice, is play bottom. And, if we're doing positional or anything like that, and not just rolling positional drills, just mirror their intensity, right? And make sure that they know if that's happening, or if they express frustration, that, hey, you're just mirroring their intensity and move forward from that.
Yeah.
Anything else on that?
I think that's pretty much the best advice you can give them. Like, I don't know, you pretty much covered it all. Don't get hurt.
Yeah.
Train areas where you're not great and use that to get better.
Yeah, 100%. Because who cares, right? If you're having trouble recovering guard with someone who is better than you, then work on it with someone who's not better than you. Mm-hmm. Right? That's going to give you the reps that you need to develop that muscle memory.
Yeah. So like I was talking to you the other day, what we were just talking about with not being in close guard is I suck at like holding people when I'm on top or maintaining a top position well, and I've been working on that a lot. But if you are bigger and 99% of people you can get down and hold down, then you have that part figured out. It's work on the other stuff.
Yeah.
It's don't only practice, I guess, what you're good at.
What's wasted time,
yeah.
Right? I mean, if you've got a decent side control and you can hold that person for the entire round of side control, what's that? That doesn't really matter. Now, granted, if you're doing something focusing on a competition or anything like that, maybe you want to do that, but then you focus on getting the finish, getting the submission, or something of that nature. Yeah, that's productive, right? But if just regular training, focus on those weak points, not the strong points.
Yeah,
strong points will be there. Very good. So this is what we kind of talked about before, but I didn't tell you what I was going to tell you. And this is that part. And that is that, next week I'm competing. And you know how I love Joe Rogan podcast, right? Mm-hmm. So Khalil Roundtree, who just beat Eric Anders in the UFC, dominated him, actually. It was an impressive performance, and Eric Anders was game the whole time. But he was on the Joe Rogan Experience MMA show, and he talked about changing his training up, and he was in Thailand for the 4 months before the fight, and he also, before that fight...
Was he on the show before or after the fight?
After the fight.
Okay.
And also before that, his dominating performance, he went to a mental coach and utilized hypnosis for that. So when I heard this, I started looking up mental coach hypnosis in Charlotte area.
Yeah.
And I found one, and I called them. Her name was Mel. And I'm going to go and do a hypnosis session on Monday for mental preparation for competition.
It's weird.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little weird.
It's super weird.
I think it's going to be fun, though.
When are you going?
Monday.
How long does it take?
I have no idea.
I feel like I have to film it.
I don't.
That's got to go in the documentary.
I'm open to it. I mean, I'm documentary. What are you, a filmmaker over here, Phil?
It's going to go in the Jeff Boone documentary. That's super interesting. What did he say it helped with?
Just his mental attitude going into the fight. He battled with fear of negative outcome, on the fight, and he said by going to that coaching and that hypnosis through that the only thing that he started seeing then was positive outcome. And he expressed that positive outcome wasn't always a win. That positive outcome was that he did his best in the competition, right? And visualization and visualizing him winning, but more appropriately, not allowing his brain to get in the way whenever he was in there, and just perform to the best of his abilities.
Do you have a negative attitude or thoughts towards your...
No, I don't, but I will tell you this.
I would almost like you to do this one without it and then do another one in 3 months with it, because I think you have a different attitude now than you did a year ago, especially in regards to your confidence in your jiu-jitsu. I don't know. I'm almost curious that way to see if there would be a major difference, because from where you were a year ago to where you were 46 years ago when you were wrestling in high school, the difference...
that was 30 years ago, okay, Phil? 32 years ago.
I think the difference in you personally is greater.
Yeah, agreed.
But just as a... to see if you know what I mean? Like, to see if the mental difference would be there of not being anxious before a match because of jiu-jitsu and your confidence, comfort with it, or if it would be even more so with the hypnosis, or it'd be hard to tell if you do both at the same time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm not so concerned about making it a clinical study. You know, for example, you know, whenever I first decided I was going to compete again, every time I would think about it, because I'd visualize, you know, kind of walking out on the mat and doing that stuff. And every time I would do that, I would get anxious and my palms would start sweating, and, you know, your mind starts racing. And guess what? It's going to be 10 times that whenever you actually do it, right? So I just started meditating on it and visualizing it. And now, you know, each night whenever I do that visualization, that meditation, I have zero anxiety. I'm not going to say that I'm going to have zero anxiety going into it, but yeah. I think it's going to be better. And everybody has anxiety whenever they're going into that competition. But if I can minimize that, it's going to, you know, the responses that we get by retaining lactic acid from all that anxiety and the fight or flight mechanism, I think that's going to be positive in my experience with the competition. So that's kind of why I'm doing it.
Yeah. That's cool. Interesting.
Okay. I thought you'd make fun of me more on it.
No, because... no, I think it's just a different way to, like, prepare for it, I guess.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I'm up for having you film it, too.
Yeah, I'm not going to actually film it.
Okay, good.
It's just a joke. But
That's good.
But, yeah, no, that was a joke. But no, I never would have guessed that. Didn't even know that was a thing. I had a friend who quit smoking with it. Like an e-smoker.
Hypnosis?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, he quit smoking a long time ago now. Probably over 10 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
What did it?
I don't know. He just said him and his mom were going, and he quit and she didn't.
Oh, okay. 50% success rate on that family.
I think if I remember right, that's how it went. A long time ago, but I know he quit. And he smoked like as much as I did, which was like a pack a day or more back then.
Mm-hmm. Now you're down to a half pack?
Yeah.
Just kidding, folks. Phil does not smoke anymore. Moving on to the next subject. It was a really interesting post by John Donaher, and it was, you know, maybe it was a little bit foreshadowing of his next instructional. I don't know. I think he's pretty brilliant on the marketing aspect of that, and probably was foreshadowing, but I think it's nonetheless a valid point of what he made, in that, you know, to be able to most readily look at the most common scenarios, right, and practice those common scenarios, practice the moves from those common scenarios, and to train those more than you train other things. And then that kind of followed along with what we're doing with this podcast, and that is that we're trying to help people get better faster. Because if you do jiu-jitsu, you're going to get better no matter what, if you just keep training and do consistency and all that. But that's what he said got people in the blue room better faster, is looking at that scenario-based training.
Is that his gym? Is that what he calls it?
Well, it's Henzo Gracie Academy, but the blue room is the basement that they train in, famous.
Yeah, I mean, I knew that, but some people may not.
Right. I got it. You're clarifying for the listeners. Good move, Phil.
Yeah. You're going first on this one.
Okay.
Because you sent that to me, and I was going to argue with you about it, but I want to hear your thoughts first.
Yeah, I mean...
Wrong.
The thing is, why I sent it to you is I think it's interesting, and I think that and my thinking has kind of evolved a little from when I did send it to you. I think
that was like 3 days ago.
I know, but I think about this stuff, right? And I think, yes, it's important, those common scenarios. That's why we do positional sparring, right? Those are common scenarios. Mm-hmm. And so that goes along with my evolution of what I was thinking, in that we do positional sparring. That is doing exactly what he's saying, is focusing on those positions. Mm-hmm. And using those most common positions, those most common, whether it's pass, sweep, or submit, those most common techniques. That's where we spend the majority of our time training.
Yeah.
So whenever I think about it, I think, yeah, he's correct, but he may be pointing out a little bit of the obvious on that.
All right, I took it different then.
What did you take it as?
I took it as train his systems. Like, take those most common positions and just focus on training those.
So you know everything about that position.
Yeah, take the front headlock, like work that to a guillotine. If you're on the ground, work for the back, work for the Kimura, work for the triangle, and just end up with legs, obviously, with him. But, that's how I took it, is like build that game.
And conveniently, he has a bunch of DVDs that will help you do that.
Entire system, you might say.
Yeah, okay.
That's how I took it. Is like, you want to get better faster, you work on these positions. Like, by position, like the way John says the Kimura is a position.
Yeah.
Not a submission.
Yeah.
That's how I took it. Is work his 5 or 6 or whatever they are things and drill those and try to get to those positions.
Okay.
That's how I read it.
I like that mentality, man. I mean, I like that mentality. It's just that, how do you practically do that?
I was going to say you don't like it. Because I took it as you were saying, like, this is what we should be doing to get better. When you've already gone through it, you did it once with the Kimura and you were bored in 2 months. I was going to argue against it, that we don't train that way. Because, like, Ryan was half joking with me the other day where he's like, I feel like you just get excited with a new move of the week every week. And we kind of do.
Sure, yeah.
Like, move on.
Got a short attention span.
Always trying to do something new every 10 minutes. Which isn't wrong,
It probably is.
I do it, but even with stuff that I find success with, I seem to stop going for that and move on to other things pretty quickly.
So you're saying you don't delve in to know everything about that position at the beginning of doing that position. You get a familiarity with it and then move on.
Yeah, I mean, I've never done that. I don't think there's been enough time for me to do that with any position. But I would kind of say, other than like closed guard, I would like kind of everything in the closed guard. That's the only thing I would say that I have a lot of knowledge of different situations, because I've spent so much time in it compared to everything else, to different reactions and whatnot. But I've never had the desire to like learn a specific thing that long, and kind of keep working that forever.
So, you may have just proven my point with your last statement.
Okay.
And that is, the most dangerous part of your game is the closed guard.
Yeah.
Lo and behold, you learned the most about the closed guard because you played it the longest.
Yeah, so I'm not going to say his way is wrong for getting better, especially if you're trying to become like the no-gi world champion, which is what he kind of specializes in, I think.
I mean, isn't that what you're trying to do, Phil?
Nope.
Me either.
If you wanted to get better faster, yeah, I think do that. But I've also those systems, and they are the most common positions. I'm not arguing that.
No, for sure.
But I just think we do it different, where it's more based around having fun and exploring the other positions. Now I've heard of people who might be a experienced blue belt who have a triangle that's like a black belt level, and then they get put into a bad position and they don't know what to do. I think that can happen if you focus too much on one thing. I don't think we ever do that. But.
No, I agree with you. Sure, everybody's going to have a certain predilection to a position, a submission, something like that. Yours is closed guard. Mine's the Kimura. And now even the triangle. I really like the triangle. I really trying to get in it and trying to enter into it, not just in the basic entries, doing that mount triangle. It's something that's intriguing because I feel like I understand the triangle a little bit more now, from doing it for a while. So, yeah, I think our debate was a little anticlimactic on that whole thing. I thought we were going to argue.
Yeah, I misunderstood. We both read the post differently.
Yeah.
You read it as the positional sparring, which I was talking with somebody the other day too, and they were talking about positional sparring, and they were not saying they don't like it, but like we start the side control one almost with a locked in side control, and then you have to try to escape it. The bottom position sucks.
Yeah.
His point was like, where does this start? Because like if you're passing my guard, I'm fighting. Most of my fight is to not let you get side control. I guess I get that point, but at the same time, better people are just gonna put you in there. Like they're gonna put you in that spot. So, get better at getting out. I don't know.
I'm surprised. That's one of my favorite things is the positional sparring.
Yeah,
especially the really bad. Like whenever we have each other's backs. I mean, that's you don't get that. What?
Just sounds funny.
What? We take each other's back.
We have each other's back. Just
we
just sound funny.
We do have each other's back though.
I like positional. I think positional sparring does two things that people don't realize is that saves you a lot of energy. So you can go a lot longer at open mat if you break it up, because you do not spend anywhere near the same amount of energy doing positional back and forth sparring as you do in a 5-minute open round.
Yeah.
I don't think people realize that. That's why the open mats on Sunday can easily go an hour and a half and 2 hours, where a lot of other open mats you're kind of burnt out after 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Or at least, feeling it different. But, and it really helps you like work on the specific stuff. And it is a bad position. And I wasn't trying to argue with him saying like, just give up your guard retention and give them side control and work on getting out. But this is for the situation when you are stuck, because that happens a lot, especially when you're not good. Mm-hmm. And then also when you get to work when you're on top. I mean, that's why we also work pass, sweep, or submit, because you're going to fight for retention when we're working on pass, sweep, or submit. So I just had to, next time I'll have the better answer to that question.
You didn't have that answer to that question?
Not at the time. No, I just made it up as I was talking.
Wow. Right.
I didn't put that together.
Okay.
Because I get his point, where you don't let him pass the guard or fight for that, or don't let him lock in. But that, people pass the guard and they lock in side control. That's a thing that happens.
Yeah.
So working on the escapes is important.
For sure. No, I totally agree. I think that the positional sparring is very important, why we incorporated it into our kind of open mat scenario on Sunday. So I think that's, super important.
This guy just totally got up and walked out, said, "I'm not doing it. I don't accept that." No. It was just a comment that was made, and it made me think about it. But kind of just tying that together with the positional sparring that you said. But I really like positional, and I can work that. I almost prefer that to the open rounds, because I don't know. I like the positional and switching up.
Well, I think so, and that is that. Because really, Phil, unless you're going with one of the upper belts, how many times are you getting your back taken during a roll?
It's never happened before.
Not true, but not far off. You do 10 rolls in a session, maybe you get your back taken once.
Right.
If you do positional sparring, guess what? You're doing 8 minutes or however long your rounds are of that position. That just exposes you to that position so much more. I mean, folks out there, if you're not doing positional sparring, you're cheating yourself.
And plus, like, going all the way back to the first thing we talked about. This is what I said about positional sparring since I started. You get the immediate feedback, and you get to go back and do it again. When you pass my guard and put me in side control in the open round, if you choose, I'm not getting out unless I tap. Like, I'm stuck there. One, I need to practice the position of escaping, surviving, and then escaping in side control. And two, I need to work on the pass, sweep, or submit side of the drill, of not letting you pass the guard.
So what you're saying is we're going back to
Knowing
Daniel Coyle's talent code and putting ourselves into deep learning mode whenever we're doing positional sparring, because we're correcting our mistakes immediately.
Yes, because you're going to go out and you're going to get swept. And then you're going to come back in and you're going to get swept again. And then after like 25 times, you're going to be like, oh, when I move my knee to the middle, they're sweeping me to that side.
Or if I put this knee up and this arm is caught, I'm getting swept to that side.
So that immediate feedback is, I feel like, such a better way to learn than you're in a 5-minute round and you get swept. You don't know why. You don't get a chance to fix it. You're on the bottom of side control. Now you're on the bottom of side control and you're not sure what to do. That person
Because you didn't do positional sparring?
That person takes 10 to 40 seconds to either transition to the mount or just submit you from side control. Or worse, from a training perspective, they just hold you in side control for the next 4 minutes and you get nothing out of 4 minutes.
Awful. Yeah, that's awful.
I mean, and that happens in the positional sparring. When you get to somebody who's, I feel, close to your skill level, that is going to sometimes just kind of hold you and you're in a stalemate because you're so close that you can feel and see their attacks coming, but they're so close that they can feel your escapes, so that is also that's going to happen.
But listen, position retention is something that is also beneficial in that scenario. In other words, especially, and I'm going back to this, having someone's back, is that you get better at repositioning whenever they're trying to escape. So both people are getting better at the position. Mm-hmm. The attacker and the escaper.
Yeah.
So, that's a good one. Got a chance this week to train with James Boomer Hogaboom at Triangle Jiu-Jitsu. Took a class taught by Seth Champ. He's going to be on the podcast at some point in time, so looking forward to that. And I got to train with the guy I was in the absolute finals with last year at Greensboro. This week it was an awesome training. It was so much fun. They were so welcoming. It was, great rolls. We did 7-minute rounds, which I love the longer rounds.
Yeah.
And just a shout out to those guys at Triangle Jiu-Jitsu. It was a lot of fun. I just can't tell you how much I enjoyed the training this week.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm excited to get up there and train with you there. I like all those guys.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, I left out Brandon too. Brandon and Chop. So, so Philly, what's new on that we're going to be selling on the BJJ Campaign website and Facebook page soon?
CBD.
That? Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about our deal that's still in the works?
Yes. Big announcement.
So, some people who know me might know I drink a little bit too much coffee.
A lot too much.
So I'm always drinking coffee on the show. So my friend who runs a great coffee business is dying to get me to try his coffee on the podcast and get my energy levels up, and yours. So we should be having some coffee for sale soon.
And what's the name of the company?
We'll see.
See what they do when they come through.
It's
those,
a great
those
name.
Sponsorship
Yeah.
dollars, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Or it's not. We don't really get paid for any of this stuff, folks.
I would say
it's going to be coffee,
this
probably.
is intentionally to annoy Scott.
Yeah, good. No, I get it. I like it. Next thing we've got rolling out, thanks to Joey Plyler for inspiring us on this one.
Shouldn't have said his name. Now he's going to talk about how it's 5 in a row.
Shouldn't have said his name. You're right.
So if he ever
when
he shows back up to roll, we'll
because he doesn't come to class anymore since he got his blue belt. Yeah, no. What do we get from Boomer at Toro BJJ K-Side?
We're gonna have gi patches.
Yes, 4-inch gi patches
in the little shield logo.
If you're watching the YouTube video right now, I'm pointing at the BJJ Campaign logo on the wall of our worldwide headquarters.
Coming at you live, as Fire and the Kid would say.
It's not live. So that, and I'll tell you this, another one of our sponsors is that had a little forearm tightness and a little pain actually last night after our no-gi session. Put the Green Compass CBD cream on it this morning, woke up refreshed, rejuvenated. CBD cream, CBD oil, I don't know about you, but it's really helped with recovery with regards to the cream, and I know you've really gotten some positive benefits out of the CBD oil for sleeping.
Yeah, I've been using CBD for like a year with the oil.
Yeah. So Green Compass, it's, if folks are in North Carolina, it's locally grown, locally processed, also third-party independent testing. So it's quality CBD oils and creams. It's not, something where you've just got, some tea tree oil that you're putting in your body. It's all regulated from third-party testing. So really happy to have that sponsor. We've got to mention our first sponsor that we ever had, and that's my BJJ Notes. So
who runs that?
Mike Valerio.
Happy birthday, Mike.
Oh, it's his birthday today. Happy birthday, Mike. But yeah, something, if you're in this campaign and something that's really going to help you get better, retain, just by writing it down, you utilize that in my BJJ Notes.
Man, guard retention, a play on guard retention would have been such a better name for his notes.
What?
Like, I don't know, like knowledge retention or something for your guard retention for my BJJ Notes. The name of the app. Does this not make sense to you?
No, not at all.
Back to you.
I get it now. It took me a second.
Yeah, guard retention.
Yeah.
Remembering and
still a terrible idea, Phil. I think my BJJ Notes is way better.
All right.
I mean, listen, you've got a lot of gyms, but some of them are stinkers. You're going to have that every now and then. But yeah, Phil, tell them how they can support us.
YouTube videos are going to be getting a little bit better sooner or later. Subscribe there. Instagram, Facebook. Leaving the suggestions, like the question we got about being frustrated and trying to remember what to do. That's the kind of stuff that we're always looking for. That's really good questions that we still are trying to work on ourselves. So all that really helps. The Shop Now button is on Facebook, so you buy a t-shirt, takes you to the website, and you'll look a lot cooler. It really improves your jiu-jitsu. That'll actually help you remember what to do if you're wearing the shirt when you're rolling. So you could always do that. And yeah, that should be it. And come train with us.
Yeah, no, we'd love that. We'd love that. Just a quick shout out to the Fight to Win team growing. Our Mooresville location opened up Wednesday, yeah, the first of the month. So that's awesome. They met that deadline, and John and Charlie teaching up there. That's great. We're going to have our Sunday rolls there this week. So really looking forward to that. Really, really happy for that expansion. I think that Mooresville, North Carolina is going to be a great place for that. So for all the listeners out there, if you're not doing something to make yourself better each and every day, get out there and do it. Phil and I, we choose jiu-jitsu. We hope you do too.
I'm about to feed him to the sharks right now. Get him hype right now. Yeah. You know the ground is up. Yeah. Everybody that trains, you know the game. Yeah. So let's get it. Slap it up, bump it and roll. Hey. Yeah, that's the way that it goes. Ain't no better way to better yourself in this game. You're feeling the growth. It's time on the mat. We put in the work. Believe it ain't easy, I know. But we train for the love of the game, the love of the art. Now slap it up, bump it, let's roll.